The sun had just set over the small town of Willow Creek, casting a golden glow over the quiet streets. 8-year-old Emma had been playing outside with her friends, laughing and chasing each other through the neighborhood. But as the evening drew to a close, Emma's parents called her inside for dinner. As she walked back to her house, Emma noticed a strange figure lurking in the shadows. He was tall and gaunt, with sunken eyes that seemed to bore into her soul. Emma quickened her pace, but the figure kept pace with her, his eyes fixed on her with an unnerving intensity. Suddenly, the figure reached out and grabbed Emma, clamping a hand over her mouth to silence her screams. Emma struggled and kicked, but the figure was too strong, and he dragged her away from the safety of her neighborhood. As they walked deeper into the woods, the trees seemed to close in around them, casting long, ominous shadows on the ground. Emma's heart was racing with fear, and she wondered if she would ever see her parents again. The figure finally stopped in a clearing, where a group of hooded figures waited. They surrounded Emma, their faces hidden in the shadows, and began to chant in unison. The air grew colder, and Emma felt a malevolent presence closing in around her. Suddenly, the chanting stopped, and the figures parted to reveal a massive stone altar. Emma's eyes widened in horror as she realized what was happening. She was to be sacrificed. The figures began to close in on her, their hands reaching out to grab her. Emma screamed and screamed, but her cries were drowned out by the sound of rustling leaves and snapping twigs. And then, just as all hope seemed lost, everything went black. When Emma came to, she was lying on the forest floor, her head throbbing with pain. The figures were nowhere to be seen, but she could sense that she was being watched. She stumbled to her feet and began to run, not stopping until she stumbled back into her neighborhood. Breathless and shaken, Emma stumbled up the path to her front door. She pounded on the door, screaming for her parents. But as she waited for them to answer, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched, that the figures in the forest were still out there, waiting for her. And then, just as the door creaked open, Emma heard a faint whispering in her ear. "We'll be back for you." Do you want to know what happened afterwards? Subscribe and hit the like button, then comment Emma for part 2.